let's say somebody that's listening to this is going, okay, well, I need people. I need to grow. I get that. And okay, so you're saying I need somebody different than me. Okay, I get that. So a lot of these people that are listening, right, loan originators, they at best have small teams, and most of them are going to be, individuals trying to navigate all this themselves, wearing a ton of hats. So how do you take somebody that's, and if they're an originator, they're probably more like you or me than, that process or persona that you talked about. So what would you recommend for them as far as, okay, let's say they find the person that complements them very well, but it's also a very different style of just being, right? Like McBilly lives very differently than me, and we've had kind of to dance to learn how he is and how I am. I'm very independent. He's very interdependent, right? There's we're like opposites, right? Sure. And so I feel like we've done a good job, but we've almost treated this like couples therapy over the years, where it's like, we want to make sure this works, so we hire advisors to help us navigate this. But for somebody that may not have that reflection, how would you empower somebody to, I guess, empower somebody they bring on with a very different behavioral map?
So I've been doing this for a long time. And even I will meet some people. So let's just back up a little bit.
Okay.
So what we're trying to measure is drives. What drives you? What are your drivers? Like, what do you drive? And so then from there we say, okay, if this drives you, for example, yours would be like, one of your drives would be, you have a drive to exert yourself on people and events. That's one of your highest drives, right? Mm-hmm. So what does that mean? Well, that means that you need autonomy, right? And you need the ability to make your own decisions. And you need to be able to venture out. And you need to be able to think vision. And you need to think long-term. And you need to be able to pivot. I hate that business word, but I'm going to use it anyway.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. And so there's your drive. Therefore, this is what you need, right? From relationships and work. And so the behaviors you then see are maybe eager to jump in, assertive, looks to solve problems, those kinds of things. So the problem is, if we're only going based off of the behaviors, because that's usually what we see as people, when we interview people, when we talk to people, when we work with people, we don't get to understand their drives and needs. We don't understand those things. We're going off of what we observe, the observable behavior. And if we're only making judgments off of observable behavior, we're going to be wrong. And I've been doing this for a long time, and I've been wrong. You think you observe a behavior and you think you know what it is, and it's actually not what you think it is. Because we're filtering it through our own experiences and through our own PIs and through our own stuff. So I don't know how you ever figure out, to be honest with you, a person is a good fit or not unless you have some kind of objective data like predictive index. And the first thing you have to figure out is, who are you? What are your drivers? What are you really good at? And sometimes what we're really good at is also our biggest gap. I think, Preston, that's one of the things for you. I mean, you're such a visionary guy and outside the box thinker and all those things. That's awesome. And we talked about this first time I talked to you. Mm-hmm. That's good to know. But sometimes what happens is you pivot too quickly, right? Because you have so many good ideas. You want to incorporate all of them, and you just can't do that. So how do I, and that's where McBilly comes in, right? Because he can help organize some of those things and kind of look at those things and say, okay, great revenue ideas. What's going to be most profitable and how do we sustain it? How do we hold people accountable to it? So that's where that complementary skill set kind of comes in, right? So I don't know how you do that with some kind of objective tool. You have to have that objective tool because you have to have that emotional intelligence, that self-awareness to really sink into the data and know how it applies to you and how you're trying to grow your business.
That makes sense. So, I mean, I think it's a good time. I have more questions for you, but why don't you take a second to kind of just plug Predictive Index? Talk a little bit about what it is. I mean, I feel like we've already touched on it, right? But if there's anything that you feel we've missed and or how it should be applied to a business or used, why don't we just take this moment since we're here? I'd imagine that some people that are listening are going, okay, well, that sounds great. And okay, so I need objective data. What next? What does that look like, right?
So, I mean, and you can find it in other tools. Obviously, I'm very partial to Predictive Index. I think it's an amazing tool. I think it's good for all the things we talked about. So you can go to our website if you wanted to, wisemanstrategies.com, and check out our website, see what it looks like. And Lindsay and our team will get back to you if you want to take a free assessment. There's a link on there. You can take a free assessment. So go ahead and take it for yourself, get the data, and then we'll get back to you and kind of walk through the assessment, no charge.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, everybody should get the assessment like that. It's so like putting definition on something that's otherwise pretty like just hard to define is really nice.
Yeah, it's like vague.
Yeah.
And Mark Twain said something, I love this quote. I'm going to screw it up. He said something, it's not what we know for sure that gets us in trouble. No, it's not. It's not what we think we know that gets in trouble. It's what we think we know for sure that gets us in trouble. Right? It's this idea of, okay, it's not what we don't know that gets us in trouble. It's what we think we know that's true that just isn't. And that's a self-awareness piece, really. It's this idea of like, this is what I think I know is true, but it just isn't true.
Right.
It's not what we don't know.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So
that's why PI is so valuable. You need to know. You have to have, because some people really think, oh, this is just who I am, and I'm like this, and then they take the data, and they go, this isn't me, and then everyone around them goes, yeah, it is.
Well, the thing that I love about, and I won't spoil it because I feel like it's part of the magic, but the thing I loved about predictive index is how insanely accurate it was based on 2 questions.
Yes.
That to me was like, I remember when I got done submitting the answer 2nd question, it was like, you're done. I was like, what? How could you possibly? What are you talking about?
Good point. Some people think these things are like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It's 6.5 minutes, really. And the reason why, Preston, is it's a response to stimulus tool. So all we're doing is asking you one question and then give you a bunch of stimuli. And then there's a mathematical weight to those words that you choose. So I don't want to give it away either, but it's a great, simple, objective way to get good.